Mac Power Users, episode 719, the 2023 MPU Gift Guide. Hello, everyone. This is David Sparks. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Stephen Hackett. How are you today, Stephen?
I'm good, David. I'm in the holiday spirit, you know?
Yeah, me too, buddy. Me too. I've got my Yule playlist going. In fact, I'm going to put a link for that in the show notes. I have a great playlist of jazz-related Christmas music. If you like that, you can check it out. It's my most subscribed to playlist. People check it out every year. I'm always updating it. So I haven't done this year's update yet, but I will go through. But there's a lot of really old music in there. Man, some of that old Ella Fitzgerald Christmas music. Oh boy, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
But there's always some new stuff too, and I'll put that in. I think I've even got a couple of my songs in there where I recorded. Like I never liked Drummer Boy for something. That song always seemed boring to me. So I made a cool version with a GarageBand and my piano and my little electronic sax years ago, I think. Yeah, it's in there. But yeah, so I'm ready for the holidays. And every year we do the MPU gift guide. It's so fun. As we work on the outline, I worry that it's like, wow, is this just like stuff I want to buy for myself? But, you know, we're all nerds here. Yeah, sometimes that is part of it, definitely. Like there's one on the list you have I have definite questions about. But the I do feel like it's fun to do this. And I have a motivation going into this. I try to mix up the picks for stuff that us nerds listening to MPU might like, but I also kind of like to add some tech-related stuff that you may want to buy for your less techie inclined family members that they may not have yet, but may be a good gift for them. And you guys will have to tell us how we did, but we like doing this, and it's fun every year. Steven and I really kind of enjoy setting up the outline. There's always kind of a race to the outline, right? This year, Steven got there first. I'm like, damn, he got some of the good ones. Now I got to find some other stuff, but it's fun.
Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes, right? It's we work together, but also we work. There's a competition sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes just a little bit, right? Before we get started, preliminary announcement. Stephen is not the only MPU host selling calendars. For like 4 or 5 years now, I've lost track. Mike Schmitz and I over at the Focus Podcast have been doing a very different calendar from Stephen's. I mean, Stephen's is cool and it's got nice pictures. Ours is a planning calendar because on Focus we're serious, and it's just a big poster you put on your wall. It's got all the days of the year on it. We evolved it over years. We've been working with the guys over at New Year Calendar, which make what we thought were kind of the best wall calendars, and they were agreeable enough to help us make a focused one. It's got the little glasses from the Focus logo. It says "Life's about more than cranking widgets," and it's got like some little check circles on it. So like if you want to do the Jerry Seinfeld thing where you write a joke a day, you can fill it in, or you can, they're dry erase, so you can dry erase them. I use mine in my office or studio now, fancy Sparky, to indicate all the big obligations of the year. So when the family comes in, they want me to do something, they can look at it to see if I'm busy or not. And when people call me and say, hey, will you come speak at this thing? And I'll look at that calendar and I'm like, oh no, I can't. I'm super busy. So I use it as a method to getting to know. But I like it, and it's fun. And a bit power tip would be, even those dry erase, get wet erase markers on it, like fine ones, and then you're golden at that point. But yeah, they're on sale now. Go check it out. We've got a link in the show notes if you want a wall calendar. I think it could work right alongside your calendar, Stephen. Frankly.
Oh yeah,
just
absolutely.
Kind of scratches a different itch. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love the way it looks. It is super cool.
Yeah, Mike Schmitz worked really hard on the design. He gets the majority of the credit. I had I said Sunday as the first day of the week is a non-starter. Like I had demands, and they were, so it's a Monday calendar. The months go right into each other. There's no gap. So everything that was one of my demands. And then I wanted it to indicate quarters. So if you look at it, they're shaded in a way you can see the quarters. So I had a couple things I really wanted, and then Mike did all the hard work after that. But yeah, it came out good.
It is good.
Today on More Power Users, Steve and I are going to be talking about multi-monitors. I had a little experiment I ran, and I want to talk about that. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I got things to say to you about that.
Yeah, well, you got pictures and you got text. You were part of the whole journey. So we're gonna. If you're not familiar, More Power Users is the ad-free extended version of the show. You can sign up for that over at relay.fm/MPU. We'd love to have you join. But let's get rolling with the gift guide for the year 2023. We've got categories this year. Sometimes we've done this kind of scattershot. We got a little more organized this year. And we wanted to talk about different categories of stuff you might want to buy for other folks or put on your list. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is, and this is a super boring one, but guys, it's the Mac Power users. This is the year of the USB-C cable, right?
It is.
This is it. This is the year that the lightning cables you start giving them away, and you start getting serious about your USB-C lifetime. And so this is a great year to get cables. I think this is one of those, to me, that's a good gift for other people as they get upgraded to the new phones. And like if you've got a significant other that got the new iPhone, give him or her a collection of USB-C cables where they don't have to worry about it. And the ones I would recommend are the Anchor cables. I haven't studied all of the other ones out there. I have bought a couple this year from Cable Matters as well that I thought were good. And these are both brands that are available on Amazon. But as boring as it sounds, get some nice braided USB-C cables for folks this year. And I think that's a good gift. I mean, I'm going to mix that with another pick because I think they kind of go together. Is I think something you could really do for friends, family, spouses, children this year as a nerd is you could set up a proper charging station for them. And I think that would be an excellent gift. I did that for my wife last year. I got her the Studio Neat, the wooden dock for the bed.
Yeah.
I got her all the pucks. I got her all the proper cables. And now when she goes to bed at night, she can charge her watch, she can charge her phone, she can charge her AirPods. And she told me randomly, like, because, after we did the last show, I said, oh, yeah, we had the Studio Neat guys on. And she's like, oh, I really love that gift you gave me last year, that dock. And it's like, oh, I made my wife happy, right? And I think that's a nice gift for someone, not only get them the cables, get them the dock, set it up for them so they don't have to monkey with it. These charging pucks that Apple sells are great, but you often have to thread them into the dock. We're nerds. We can do that. That's no problem for us. Get them set up, that'd be a nice gift.
Yeah. And there's so many options out there. So if you have an aesthetic that you're after, it's easy to find one. I like the material dock as well. It works with both my desk and my nightside table. And I did this a couple of years ago. I've been using the material dock for years and got Mary one too. And now we have like the same one. So we can each put a phone or AirPods case and the Apple Watch. And it's just super easy. And yeah, there's loads of options. The 12 South stuff looks really good. Belkin has a lot of options. Nomad. I mean, all of these companies, right, that make Apple accessories, they're all in the charging game. So you can find something that works for you, for sure.
Yeah, but that'd be a nice gift.
Absolutely. I've got one that surprised even me. So the
boy.
AirPods Pro, has the new case and it has that little lanyard spot on it. And I'm not really a lanyard person. Right? Like,
you don't strike me as a lanyard guy.
No, I mean, like, I have a camera strap for my camera when I'm walking around with it, but I'm just not a lanyard person normally. I don't have my keys on a lanyard, right? They just go in my pocket. But AirPods Pro, the case really benefits from a lanyard. I'm not even going to put a link in the show notes because there's a billion random ones on Amazon. I got a red one. And what's nice about it is it makes your AirPod case way more visible. If you put it on if you're like me, you don't always put your AirPod case in the same place every day. I know I should, but I don't. Sometimes it's in the kitchen. Sometimes it's on my nightstand. Sometimes it's on my desk. And having a bright red 6-inch lanyard on it makes it way easier to spot. And so I've had that on mine since I got it. And it was like $1. But it's super awesome, makes it much more visible. And if you're in a household, maybe with more than one set of AirPods Pro, right? Maybe you upgraded and your kid or somebody else has your old ones. You can put different color lanyards on it. If you're not a sticker person, right? Some people are sticker people and they'll put, a sticker on their AirPods case. But if you're not, it's a good way to also identify multiple cases in your household.
You know what else you could do, Steven? You could print out a custom AirPods Pro case with your Gridfinity. You could do that.
Oh, got it. So you have a place, so it goes there every time.
Snaps into my Gridfinity, baby. And then on the back, it's a 2x2 grid, and it's got a perfectly sized AirPods Pro hole in it.
Yeah.
Just saying, if you need a place to put your AirPods.
And your AirPods Pro case, are you an engraving fan? Are you an engraving fan generally, like your Apple Pencil, or your iPods or iPads or anything?
Sometimes it just depends. Like my AirPods Pro say "Go Sparky!" exclamation point on them. I don't know. Just made me kind of happy to write that. I don't do it all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but especially like I've never done it to like iPads and Macs. I don't know if you can do it to a Mac, but I've never done it to like the actual hardware. But the accessories sometimes seem to find engraving when I order them.
I don't think I've ever done it, even back in like the iPod days. It just felt like a big commitment. And I'm a guy with a bunch of tattoos, right? But engraving an AirPods case, too far. Can't do that.
See, I'm just the opposite. So anyway, but yeah, I'm good. I like the AirPods. I know I'm going to use them for their entire lifespan. Like,
right.
Worst case to worst, my kids like take them from me, and then they get my branding on it. So tough luck, you know. But but like the iPads, I'm going to probably sell it someday, and so like stuff like that, I don't engrave. But yeah, I get it. But either way, so I made a little Gridfinity case for it. But I think a lanyard's a good idea too. And again, like this is a good one if you've got family members who sometimes lose things. You know, why not give them a nice little lanyard for it?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is also the year, in addition to the year of USB-C, this is the year that SSDs got a lot less expensive, and they were really up there. But now they're not so bad, right? You know, I was just looking, you can get a 2 terabyte Samsung SSD now for $135.
Mm-hmm.
And that used to be a lot more money. And it's also true with some of the internal ones. And you got to kind of watch Amazon. They go up and down. But if you want to put an SSD as your backup drive, or, you want to get a nice big external one to add to your system, it's not crazy anymore. At one point there was a deal this year. I got an 8 gigabyte one that serves as my Time Machine backup, and it didn't break the bank, not nearly the way my studio display memory broke the bank. So you just keep an eye on them, but it's not insane anymore. And I really feel like that's just been probably the last 10 months that's happened.
Yeah, we spoke about it on a More Power Users, maybe over the summer, I think, when I rebuilt my little like media Mac Mini with Plex and iTunes and a bunch of stuff. And that was the last place I had spinning drives anywhere in the house. I still have spinning drives for my offsite backups, but because they've come down so much in price, I was able to basically rebuild that setup with SSD, and it didn't break the bank. And it is so nice. I mean, if you're on any sort of modern Mac, you're probably booting from an SSD at this point, unless you have a Fusion drive. But things like Time Machine and overnight backups, it's so much faster on SSD, and it's silent, and it is more reliable. Yes, everything will fail eventually, but there ain't no spinning parts in an SSD. It's just all solid state, and it's such a quality of life improvement to be all SSD. And now really is the time. I feel like we have finally, we talked about this for a decade. It's finally turned the corner. I feel like where almost anyone who wants to can start, migrating off of hard drives. There's still places for hard drives, right? If you're running a big Synology with 18 drives in it, hard drives are great for that. But when we're talking about backup drives, secondary drives, maybe your photo library is on it, or you have files on it that don't fit on your laptop, SSD is here. It is time. Then the future is wonderful.
Yeah, I've got for my offsite, I've got 2 8 terabyte SSDs that are spinning drives, and I rotate them. Like I've got one with a friend, and then every month I swap them. I back the other one up and switch it out. And now I'm looking. You can get an 8 terabyte today, Samsung internal, $344. That used to be like $600 or $700 like a year ago. I mean, so they're a lot less expensive now. I can't guarantee you that by the next gift guide, those spinning drives will still be in operation. I mean, they're already about 3 years old.
Mhm.
That's a perfect excuse, right? To switch that SSD to. Yeah, but not yet. But I feel like if you're looking to get some convert your external storage from spinning to SSD, it makes sense now. So that's a good gift to ask from somebody. I'm not sure you buy it for your spouse. Like if I went to Daisy, hey, Merry Christmas. Here's an 8 terabyte internal SSD. I would, I don't know. I might have to pull it out of a body part later.
Yeah, that's a thing where you just quietly update it one weekend when they're out of town and never
Yeah.
mention it, right? They'll never notice, but you'll know that they're in much better shape.
Do you do Mary's backup, like her time machine backup for her?
I do. So she's got a MacBook Pro and she backs up the time
Yeah.
machine just to one of these Samsung T7s. And she's
Yeah.
pretty good about plugging it in every couple weeks, but about once a month, I'll just kind of like quietly go get it and plug it in. And there's usually a software update or something else to do on it. Because
Yeah.
it's just not her thing to worry about that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I was working on her computer and said, it has been 432 days since your last backup. I'm like, huh.
Oh boy.
So I went and got her backup drive and I did it for her.
Yeah.
She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm backing up your computer for her. She's like, well, I do it. You don't need to worry about it. I take care of that. And I'm like, yeah, I know you do, but I'm going to do it too.
Yeah. You don't say, yeah, you haven't done it since last June. Keep that to yourself.
No.
and that's also where the whole network time machine comes into. I have that set up for the couple of MacBook Airs that are floating around that our kids do homework and schoolwork on. But with Mary's, she's got a lot of data. She's got I think she has a 4 terabyte SSD in her MacBook Pro because it's my old one. And most of that is photos. And of course, that's all in iCloud Photo Library. But as we've spoken about at length on the show over the years, you still want that backed up. And so I didn't want to push that much data across the network. And it's like, I can plug it in every once in a while. And I think it was another more power users actually, where I talked about the charging box I built with like all the laptops in the family except for mine and the iPads in the family except for mine get charged.
Yeah.
It's in a cabinet under the TV. And that's where her time machine drive sits, just there with the little USB-C cable on top of it. So it's kind of all there together. She sees it, she remembers. But yeah, sometimes, next time your partner or whoever is out of the house, or if you go visit your parents, for a holiday, just check in on their backups. That's all we're saying.
Yeah. And if you want to be really fancy, get them an SSD.
Mm-hmm.
But don't give it to them as a gift.
Nope. Just, hey, I'm just going to take care of this for you.
I don't want to be cited in the divorce papers. just do it.
So the year of USB-C also counts towards these portable batteries because you don't want to charge with micro USB anymore. But also they can deliver things like power delivery, so really fast charging on devices that support it. And the one that I've got is one that we've talked about before, but every time I use it, I just really love it. And it's an Anker product. It's the 733. And what this is it plugs into the wall, but it also has a battery in it. So you can use it for a battery bank or as like a multi-charger. And it does the smart thing where it charges your device and the battery. It does 65-watt fast charging. It's really sweet because it's kind of the best of both worlds. And my trick with this, and I've talked about this before too, but it goes for a lot of these things that like the multi-charger that goes into the wall or some battery banks that plug directly into a wall. Sometimes there's not room for that thing. Like this thing's probably 2.5 inches deep. Like you can't put it behind a bed in a hotel. So I also carry this little like 6-inch short extension cord with a swivel head on it. So I can plug this in and sit it on a nightstand or something. Every time I travel, this goes in my bag and I keep the cables that go with it. So there's 2 USB-C cables, and I think I have a USB-A to Lightning on there because I'm still using the old AirPods that use Lightning. And it's fantastic because it's just all together. And if I'm in an airport and need to top something up, it's also a battery bank. So it's kind of 2-in-1. I think you turned me onto this a couple of years ago, and I've sent this link to so many people over the last year or two because it is awesome.
Yeah, this is the winner. This is the one. Like if you're going to get one, I bought one. As soon as I got one for myself, I immediately ordered a second one for Daisy. It's just, because it does everything, right? If you're out and you need to charge your device, you can plug it in the wall and charge your device. If you need battery power, it's got battery power, and it's in a very small package for all of that stuff. And I got the black one, she got the white one. So yeah, that's a great choice. I have another one. This one I really feel like is a good holiday gift. I think it's a good stocking stuffer kind of gift. With USB-C coming out, if you've got a loved one with a iPhone 15 Pro or an iPhone 15 at all, Anker makes a nano power bank, it's a much smaller device, and it's got a built-in USB-C port that folds into it.
Ooh.
And I got one of these, and it like literally fits in your pocket with the phone. It is 5,000 milliamp hours. It's not huge, but it charges at 22 watts, so it's a fast charger. Now, the Apple MagSafe charger I like and still use, but sometimes I just want to quickly dump some power into my phone, and this is perfect for that. They've got multiple colors, and I'm actually gonna get one for some other family members for gifts this year because I just think it's so good. I believe they make a Lightning one as well if somebody's on an older phone. So you can do that. I hesitate to buy Lightning products. I know they're all going to be on USB-C soon, but yeah, for even just for a year, they're not that expensive at $30, and they're really nice, and you can charge your phone through it. So if you want, like if you're traveling, it's got an input, so you can go USB-C into the battery and then through the battery into the phone, and just a nice little tiny charger that fits in your pocket. And I really like the way they incorporated the port into it, whether it's USB-C or Lightning. It folds down, so it's not like sticking out in your pocket or your purse. And when you need to use it, you pop it out, plug it in, and you've suddenly got some 22-watt charging going into your phone.
That's cool. I just put one in my cart for somebody who needs this in their lives all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's nice. Like when we go to Disneyland or whatever, I can put that in my pocket. I know if I need extra charge, I'm good.
Yep. One thing we should say here in this little battery bank section is please buy something name brand. There's a lot of stuff out there on Amazon and other places that's built as cheaply as possible and can be a little sketchy. And at least for me, when I'm dealing with electricity, I'm always going to go with a brand that's well known, like Anker, for instance, and there are others. But, I'd rather spend a few extra bucks and have the peace of mind that I'm not going to have problems down the road.
Yeah, there's a video I'd like to link, and I also wrote about it, Max Sparky. Adam Savage got somebody to X-ray Apple products versus fake Apple products. Like the one that stood out to me was the power supply, a Mac power supply. So they had one that was an Apple and one that looked just like an Apple product, but on the inside, it was garbage. Like the ground wire was not connected garbage, like dangerous stuff. And I think it's really easy sometimes if you go to the wrong stores to buy something that looks like it's legit and inside isn't. And when you're dealing with power and electricity, that's dangerous,
Yeah.
So be careful, buy the stuff from reputable vendors. Not, Apple is a good place to buy it. You're going to get their stuff, but there are other reputable vendors. But sometimes the stuff out there is bad, and I think some people knowingly buy the knockoff stuff, and they get what they pay for. But what's scary to me is some of these stores represent this stuff as legitimate Apple stuff, and if you buy it, it looks like an Apple thing, but inside it's not. Yeah. And we'll put a link to that video if you if you want some knowledge. Look at those X-rays. Thanks to listener Dave, who actually sent me the original link to this video and got me down this rabbit hole. But it is something else. How bad some of this stuff is out there.
Some of these X-rays are crazy.
Well, I mean, it's like the guy on Adam Savage's video is like, he had an electronics expert. He's like, yeah, this is all hand soldered, like on the knockoff stuff. Like, there's somebody in a factory somewhere just like knocking these wires together. Apple, everything is like perfectly lined up and pre-printed circuit board, no potential for error or problem, and these other things, are just like slapped together. And on the outside, though, they look the exact same. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's scary. The last thing I've got for this Apple add-ons section is the 12 South Time Porter. So this is a pretty new product from 12 South, and it lets you hang and display your watch bands like in your closet or, on a nightstand or something, so you can more easily see what you have. If you're like me, your Apple Watch bands are in a pile in your sock drawer, right? Or in your nightstand, and they're all jumbled up and you can only find half of it at a time. You're trying to run out the door and want to change your watch band out. And so if you live the multi-watch band lifestyle, and at this point, what are we, 9 years into the Apple Watch? A lot of us have multiple bands. This is a pretty sweet way to keep them organized and out on display.
You want me to talk about Gridfinity again? Because I could.
You could also do that. You could also 3D print a fancy thing. But if you're not into that, look, something 3D printed, also not the best gift, maybe,
No, I agree. No, this is nice. I agree. I think this does a really good job of displaying them. So that's fun.
Yeah. Oh gosh, you've texted me a picture of your watch bands and these little printed cubbies. You're out of control, man. We need an intervention.
I am out of control. That is one thing we can agree on. Looking at the 12 South page, I would say almost anything 12 South sells would be a good gift for somebody. I think they make great stuff.
They make nice stuff.
This episode of the Mac Power Users is brought to you by 1Password. Go to 1password.com/MPU right now and get 20% off your plan. Gang, the holidays are upon us, and you're going to be with some family this week, hopefully for Thanksgiving here in the U.S. And this is a great opportunity to share 1Password with your family members. The bad guys are getting real clever at hacking people, and a lot of folks who don't listen to the Mac Power Users need a tool like 1Password there to protect them. The problem is they don't know about it. So that's your job. Go and tell them about 1Password while you're having turkey dinner. Look at it as an alternative to talking politics with your family. Spend just a couple minutes helping them get set up, and they will be so thankful to you. 1Password handles all the problems for folks who are not power users. It creates strong and unique passwords whenever they need them. It even has the Watchtower service that keeps an eye on the internet and the accounts that they have and lets them know when anybody on the internet they're dealing with has been hacked or there's a problem or they've got repeat passwords. It's like a little security coach for them. It keeps them safe. And you can feel comfortable recommending 1Password because it's secure by design. It adds that secret key to your account password to provide that unique extra layer of security for proven protection. It's private by default. They can't see your passwords or sensitive information stored in 1Password, so they can't use it, share it, or sell it, or neither can anyone else. And it's verified by experts. They have regular third-party audits and the industry's largest bug bounty to help them catch threats before they can affect you. So you can recommend it to your family without hesitation and get them on a safe and secure password program. While you're at it, show them how they can store secure information in 1Password as well. 1Password really is a tool that non-power users need to access, and they need you to help them out. So you can really help your friends and family members this holiday season by getting them hooked up. So let them know about 1Password. Send them to 1Password.com/MPU so they know they came from the Mac Power Users. Give them just a little bit of help getting started, and you will create so much good karma, and I bet you'll get an even better holiday present back from them. That URL one last time is 1Password.com/MPU. Check it out now.
Let's move into some everyday carry items, which is kind of a goofy internet term, but things that we have with us. And I'm going to start with what has been okay. So I said earlier, I've become a lanyard person. I've also become a phone wallet combination person. I don't know what happened to me. I hit my late 30s and everything changed. But I've been using for quite a while now the Peak Design mobile wallet. They have a couple of versions of this. There's one like with a kickstand, so you can like prop your phone up. I don't have that one. I just have the Slim Link phone accessory. I have it in charcoal, that they have some different colors. And it's very similar to Apple's little MagSafe leather wallet, but it's not leather, and it holds more, and it has a closing flap. So I'm going to put this close to the microphone so you can hear it. Hear that? It's a little flap. It's a little flap so your cards don't fall out.
Very satisfying snap.
Very satisfying. It's just magnetic, so it comes back over the top. And I've been using this for maybe a year now, if not a little bit more. And I can carry more in it than the Apple one, and I like the way it looks. And it is not on Find My. So the new Apple one, it's kind of on Find My. It will tell you where you took it off last, but not like where it is at the moment. So if you left it in an Uber, it's still gone. This is true for this too. Um, but it's on my phone most of the time. And if my phone is on a charger, then this is in my pocket where my phone goes. So I'm not going to sit it down and leave it somewhere. But I've been really happy with this thing. And Peak Design makes lots of great stuff. It works really well with their phone case, but any MagSafe compatible iPhone case or just on the iPhone directly, the magnets are strong. It stays on there. It aligns really nicely. And this has been a little companion for me for a long time now.
Stephen, it's funny because you and I have been friends for a long time, and it always cracks me up when we independently discover the same thing. Because I bought this wallet when they did the initial like big announcement that they're making phone cases. So mine's 2 or 3 years. It's old, and this is the wallet I use the most because of everything you just said. It holds more cards than the Apple one. It also, the magnetic close makes you feel safe, and it does stick to your phone when you need it, but I don't necessarily always even stick it to my phone.
Yep.
And it's just nice. I've had mine a long time. It's starting to show wear on the edges, but it seems like it's holding together just fine.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a great little wallet. I mean, it's very boring. You can put like a couple 20s in there, but you can like double the number of cards you can put in an Apple Wallet, and that's something I needed.
Apple's wallet's basically 3 kind of standard thickness cards, maybe 4 if you have some thin ones. But, I've got driver's license, debit card, credit card. I'm just opening it and seeing what I've got. A couple of insurance cards, and a couple of 20s in the back. And I could still cram more in there if I wanted to. And if you wanted to make it Find My compatible, you could use something like the Chipolo Find My card. Which I was going to put on the list, but mine died after like 6 months. And so I'm not real thrilled with that. There are other options out there now that are like Find My debit card size things. They're usually pretty thick, but if you really wanted to do that, you could do this. There are wallets out there, including the ones that stick on the back of the phone, that will accommodate an AirTag, but that adds quite a bit of bulk. I would really like to see the AirTag thinned down. I don't know how they would do that because basically the thickness of the AirTag is set by the thickness of the little watch battery inside. But this gives you a lot of options. And I like the flexibility of it. That it can be on my phone, off my phone, whatever I need in any given moment.
Yeah. And I've got a nice collection of cards in there for various things I need. I was thinking my only complaint is once in a while the magnetic flap lands on the inside of the wallet.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a pain to dig it out. And I don't like that. But that's no big deal. And, I just snapped a mic. Can you hear that? Oh boy. Anyway, I think I'm tempted, and I know this is like heresy to you. What if I like gaff taped an AirTag to the outside of it? Like just like did a nice job of it, right? But taped it on the outside, and then you'd have an AirTag on it. I don't know.
I think I can't tell when you're trolling me or not anymore. I hope you are, but it's hard.
I'm literally not trolling you. I'm thinking, I had a moment. We were at a thing, and and I had my fancy pants on. My wife bought me a pair of fancy pants. Fancy pants have small pockets. I don't know why they put these small pockets in fancy pants, but I didn't want my wallet to get lost, so I had it in my bag. And all night I was just thinking, "Where's my wallet?" Because I'm used to having it in the same pocket all the time. And there was like a sub process of my brain that kept thinking I was losing my wallet. So it's like I'm thinking, I would like to have an AirTag on this thing. I guess what I need to do is because I do have a wallet that has an AirTag. I need to use that one when I wear fancy pants. Maybe that's the answer.
Maybe.
But I could also gaff tape an AirTag onto this.
We don't
you're going to love one of my later picks. You're going to love what I did to that one. Just wait. Just wait. Okay. I love that you picked a topic this year called Everyday Carry, because that's like, I love that stuff. It's like little things you can stick in your pockets, and I'm really cool with that. I had a bunch of them. For the first one, in fact, I'm going to pick another wallet. A few years ago, I bought the Field Notes wallet.
Yeah.
And it's just a leather wallet that perfectly holds a set of Field Notes. And and it also can hold some cash and cards. It's not as efficient as the one we just talked about from Peak Design, but it's nice and it's leather. You know, it's kind of my aesthetic, and I find I can put any cards I need in there. I love to use this wallet when I travel because I take notes sometimes when I travel, and it's got a little field notes notebook in there, so if I need to write something down. I can even fold it with my phone on the inside of it if I want, although you have to be careful pulling it out. You don't want the phone to go flying. And inside where the billfold is, I have gaff taped an AirTag. That I have done.
Okay.
I'd send you a picture, but I don't want people to hear you vomiting on the show.
Hang up the Zoom call.
Yeah.
Yeah, their leather notebook cover wallet thing is cool. They also have one that is it's more like they have some different version of it. There's one that's like a sleeve, which I've tried before. It's maybe both of them are in partnership with Bellroy, which makes really nice leather accessories and other things. But yeah. I mean, I carry a field notes, like it's right here. I'm just hitting things on the mic today, right here. And so to combine that with a wallet is nice. And there are times where I do want all that stuff together, but it means your wallet basically is the size of a field note. So you kind of got to be prepared for that.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you don't have your fancy pants on, you're good. And you got all your stuff there. It's kind of good. If you're someone who likes to write notes down, you got field notes. This is a good one. Good gift. But you kind of pass it over, but there is an AirTag inside. I put it really high so it doesn't, like, it's above where the credit cards are, but behind them. So it doesn't really change the thickness of the wallet much because the credit cards take up space.
That's good.
But I like having, the location of my stuff on me. I just wish Apple made their own version of a credit card size AirTag so we didn't have to do this crazy stuff. But I'm willing to put up with the little bit of extra bulk to have that option.
The next one here says old man pick. What have you done?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would have made fun of this pick a few decades ago, but my reading eyes aren't what they used to be. Like you hand me a piece of paper and I don't have my reading glasses on, I probably can't read it. So and there are people in our show of a certain demographic that appreciate that. And this year I found these great glasses on Amazon. It's $15. You get two of them. They fold in half and they go in a little plastic case. And that's great. 15 for 2 or 19 for 3. And so you get them whatever reading prescription you need. And I got these and I almost always have them in my pocket. So if you find yourself like in a restaurant or somewhere where you want to check something on your phone and you don't happen to have reading glasses, you've got them in your pocket at all times. And my wife has some pairs now, and all my old man friends that see me wearing them are like, "Where'd you get that? I need that too." So, the 20-somethings in the audience are going to be laughing. And I used to be you. I remember when I used to, when I was a young lawyer and the old lawyers would come to my office, I would intentionally have my fonts at the smallest size so they wouldn't read over my shoulder.
Nice.
And they couldn't. And it was great. It was like a superpower. And now I'm the old man that you can't read. Now, I don't like to call myself an old man. I'm not that old. I'm young at heart. But I do have a little problem with reading tiny text, and this solves it. So it's a goofy pick, but if you need it, this is a great pick.
Yeah, that's cool. I really can't make fun of that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're gonna need it. I mean, you're not that far behind me, buddy. Someday you're gonna be like, "Hey, can you send me a link again for those glasses?" It's only a question of time.
I've worn glasses full time for like 10 years, and I actually have an eye appointment as we record this tomorrow. And as I have that feeling, it's like, this prescription isn't what it used to be. Something has changed again.
I'm in a super weird space right now because I've needed what they call progressives for some time, for distance and reading. But this last couple years, my reading vision got substantially worse. At the same time, my distance vision has gone back to 20/20.
Yeah, that happens. You kind of shift in one direction or the other.
Well, apparently the lens gets twisted enough in terms of your reading vision that it actually improves the other end of it. And my optometrist is like, "Hey, this is cool for you, but this isn't going to last forever. So just enjoy it, But right now, I can wear any sunglasses, and I'm good. I can go to the movies. I don't need to wear glasses.
Yeah, that's
It's a
nice.
very strange spot, but the trade off is it's gotten to where I just can't read. Like if you just hand me a phone and I don't have glasses on, I can't read it.
Hmm.
Anyway, that's the old man pick.
My next one is an extremely traditional everyday carry pick, and that's the knife that you carry. And mine is the Folsom by James Company. James makes a bunch of really nice stuff, a lot of knives and tools. I've got a Folsom, and naturally, I have it in orange and stainless steel. This was mine is actually like a custom one in conjunction with Aaron Draplin, one of the designers behind Field Notes and my favorite graphic designer. But they've taken the colorway and just put it for sale for everybody now. Mine is orange with a black blade, but now it's with stainless. And the clip's really nice. It's a good size. It's pretty lightweight, and it's not. The one I have is straight edge. I actually don't like serrated blades on a pocket knife, but this has been with me for quite a while now. It's not the longest I've ever carried a pocket knife, but it's probably getting close. And it's orange, and that is fun. It's $100. It's a little pricey, but look, you can spend all the money on knives. I've had more expensive knives. Ben Brooks years ago gave me a very nice, expensive knife, and now that lives on my desk, and I carry this thing around. But if you're looking for a simple pocket knife, really anything on James' website would fit the bill.
Yeah, I covered in a prior gift guide my love of Leatherman, and
Yeah.
I still carry a big bulky Leatherman in my pocket, but I just use it all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I use it in the garden, I use it in the wood shop, I use it opening packages, I use it for everything. And I've got really good at knowing when to remove it from my pocket, because there's like Disneyland, you got to go certain places you can't carry a knife anymore.
Yes.
And so I'm pretty good at that. But yeah, I'm always tempted by the idea of having a nice little thin knife that I carry around with me, as opposed to the big thing. But I also like the other tools on the big thing, so I can't really like get off the dime there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a Leatherman, but it lives in the console of my truck. So I always know where it is.
Yeah, I am definitely a pocket knife guy, and I think it's weird because I think a lot of people are like beyond that now, like no, carry a knife, blah, blah, but I don't know. I just find so many uses for it.
You have a couple of other pretty traditional everyday carry picks.
Yeah, I when you said EDC, I'm like, oh, I've got a couple of those things that I carry often, and they're not fancy. One is just a pocket flashlight, just like SSDs. Those are really inexpensive now, and almost every day I have a flashlight in my pocket. And again, I just find so many uses for it. Like you drop a screw and you just pull a flashlight out, or whatever you're doing stuff around the house, or I carry that at Disneyland, my little flashlight, and I just find uses for it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you can spend like knives, you can spend a lot of money on flashlights, but if you just get an LED mini pocket flashlight, you can get them in the $20 to $30 range that are very high quality and very bright. Usually they run on a AAA battery, and it takes almost no space in your pocket. I think it's a good gift for somebody. It's a good thing for yourself to carry around. I don't even remember where I got mine. I think I got mine at REI, but I've had it probably a decade, and it is super beat up, but it still just works, and you change the battery once in a while. Get one good enough that it's not going to be a complete piece of junk. Make sure it's LED, and you're good. And similarly, I have been carrying a pocket whistle, and this was from a good friend of mine who's a fire chief. Said, "Hey, yeah, when there's an earthquake, we can save the people that have whistles." And just like there's some truth to that. You can be heard if you have a whistle, and those have gotten really inexpensive and really good. And I bought a set of them this year for my kids and myself off Amazon, and I'm putting a link in for the one I got. But there's competitors that are in the same ballpark. But they're tiny and they're steel, and you can put it on your keychain. And there's all sorts of reasons why you may find yourself needing a whistle. And I thought, why not just get a good one and put it on and be done with it? And that's when you said everyday carry. Knife is the obvious one everybody always talks about, but I think whistle and flashlight are right up there.
Mm-hmm. I just bought one of these to put in my hiking bag.
Yeah.
I've got a backpack that's what I use it for. You know, it's not like a hiking bag like you'd go on the
Yeah.
Appalachian Trail with. It's just like a outdoorsy backpack.
Yeah.
And I have a knife in there and a compass and some other stuff. And I ordered one of these, and I'm going to throw it in there when it gets here.
Yeah. Well, I wanted all the ladies in the household to have one on their keychain.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is good, and it's out of the way, but if they need it, it's there. And I got myself one too. Good stocking stuffer.
This episode of MPU is brought to you by Clean My Mac X. You want the right tool when it comes to the job. In fact, as I'm recording this, some guys are drilling into the brick of the house next door to me. So that's a fun thing for me. But when you're talking about maintenance on your Mac, you obviously don't want a drill. You want a tool like Clean My Mac X, because junk files, hung processes, and malicious apps can slow down even the latest, greatest Macs. And maintaining your Mac, whether old or new, is essential for macOS to perform smoothly. Clean My Mac X is the all-in-one Mac maintenance tool that takes care of old junk, faulty apps, and malware in an efficient, aesthetically pleasing, and hassle-free way. Using the app's menu bar, you can monitor your Mac's health, CPU load, and more. With nearly 30 million downloads and 15 years of expertise, this app is a must-try for any Mac user. And it's ready to go for macOS Sonoma. Sonoma's full of new, innovative features, and Clean My Mac X ensures that your hardware remains healthy and running at peak performance, so you can enjoy a seamless macOS experience. I've run Clean My Mac X for a long time, and one of my favorite things is it sends me a little notification when it's time to run a scan. And most of the time, everything's cool on my Mac, but there have been times where it's found issues, and it's really easy to take care of them. As a listener of this show, you'll get 5% off by checking out the link in the show notes or going to macpaw.app/MPU. That's macpaw.app/MPU for 5% off. Our thanks to Clean My Mac X for their support of the show.
Okay, Stephen, we have another new topic this year called car and home tech. And I thought it'd be fun to talk about some cool stuff for our cars and our homes. You got all the car picks. This is one where by getting there early, you kind of you won. But I got some home picks. You got some car picks. Let's just do this.
I have a story for you. So I took one of my kids to school this morning and stopped for gas on the way home. So pull up to the gas pump, put gas in my truck, and a guy in different color but identical make and model of pickup to mine, like pulled in behind me, like the next pump.
Yeah.
And so you kind of do the nod, like, oh hey, nice truck, whatever.
Hey, car guy. You have good taste, so do I.
Yeah, but he's like, how long have you had it? And he's like, so what have you done to it? Because there's some very common modifications people with Tundras do.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to this guy for like 10 minutes at the gas station, just like, I've done this and this is what he's done, and talking about it. So yes, I could talk about this stuff all day. I will start with some sort of magnetic iPhone mount for your car. So in some places, you may not be allowed to have a phone even visible, follow your local laws, blah, 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 blah. But magnetic charging is pretty sweet in the car because you really don't have to think about it. And a lot of cars have wireless chargers. My truck has one. It's terrible. I actually did the terrible thing of, we may have talked about this on the show at some point. I've actually mounted an actual MagSafe puck in my car, and it goes over to a USB-C thing. You don't have to do that. You don't have to drill holes in your car if you don't want to. There's lots of, popular accessory makers that make magnetic mounts for your car. One that I really like is actually one by Peak Design. Now, what you may need, it's kind of a hard gift. Like maybe you partner with somebody and be like, oh, hey, I want to, hook you up, find something that works. Belkin, Nomad, Peak Design, a million Amazon brands. There's a ton of stuff out there. Some actually charge wirelessly. Others, like the Peak Design that I had in my previous truck, was just magnetic, and I still had to run a lightning cable to my phone. So you need to also understand like what their CarPlay situation is, or how they're getting audio out of their phone. But it's just really nice not to have to kind of think about where your phone goes. And a lot of the things do mount kind of high, but I've got mine mounted down really low, and my phone is not in my line of sight when I drive. And at the same time, I know right where it is if I need it, if I need to pick up the phone or something. So I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of MagSafe in general, of magnets in general in the iPhone accessory world, but it can be really sweet in a car.
Yeah, nice. I've been playing this year with door locks, and I've talked about this prior on the show, but I feel like this year I've just really been sold on the utility of HomeKit enabled door locks. It's become such a part of the routine in my family. Now, when my wife comes home from work, she just yells out to the lady in her car, unlock the front door, and the front door unlocks. Dog gets excited, waits for her to come in. She gets to the front door. She doesn't have to get her keys out and unlock the door. And this stuff works great. Now, I know the security question always comes up. Well, can somebody hack it? And I'm like, well, somebody wants to get in your house, they can really get in your house. So I don't feel like
I'd be way more concerned with somebody breaking a traditional lock than hacking something on HomeKit.
Yeah, or just break a window.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, just jimmy your way in. Like, I agree with you. I don't think I think it's a good thing to ask the question about, but I don't have any smart locks, but security is not the reason I don't, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, it's just once you get them, you just find so many uses for them. Like I have now done them all. I've mainly been using the quick set ones because we have quick set keys.
Yeah,
and you can rekey them to match your existing lock. But
that's nice.
We had a side door to the garage, and I got an ad for a Eufy sale, and so I bought the Eufy fingerprint one, and that's HomeKit enabled, and I just installed it over the weekend, and it works great too. I can go up to my garage side door and stick my finger on it, and the door unlocks. And I feel like that stuff is just really nice. And we've had so many examples where the locks came in handy. Like when you go to bed now, because I have them on all the doors, somebody says, well, did you lock the door? I just look at my phone. They're locked. If they're not, I push a button and it locks itself.
Yeah.
We had a family member coming to meet us at our house, but we weren't home yet. I unlocked the door for them when they got here, and they could come in and wait for us. And just like there's just you find all sorts of uses for them. And if you've been hesitant, I think you should be hesitant no longer. Just get one that is HomeKit enabled if you want to keep it simple. If you want to go like Home Assistant and like do the deep end home automation stuff, there's a bunch of them out there. But with Matter now, in fact, I would recommend getting one that's both Matter and HomeKit enabled, and then you're good for the future. But I love those door locks, and I think they're just so useful.
Yeah. The way our house is set up is not a great way to do it because we have like storm doors over our exterior doors. So it's like actually two doors. But the studio, I could do it. And so I've kind of like looked at it before, and at some point I want to dive in probably, but it would just be for the office.
Yeah.
I'll go back to the car thing. I talked about this before. I talked about it after my kind of scary car accident earlier this year. But a combination car window breaker and seatbelt cutter. The one I put in the links, there's a set of two of them. They're bright orange. So you can spot them. They have a reflective strip on them. And if you were in an accident, like I ended up upside down in my truck, being able to cut a seatbelt and or break, auto glass can be really important. And this is not the most exciting thing in this Google Doc by far. Like it may be the most pedestrian. It's definitely the one with the biggest dad energy other than David's folding glasses. But
yeah, that one wins.
It does. But I'm telling you, after my accident, I bought a bunch of these and like just was handing them out to people in my life. And you put them in your glove box, put them in your console so you know where it is in an emergency. And it's a big deal. I wasn't underwater or anything. I was upside down in someone's front yard, this poor family, but couldn't get the seatbelt off. I had to cut the seatbelt. And this thing can be a real lifesaver. So I know that's kind of like boring and sobering, but these things happen. And as soon as we decided to do car and home, I was like, this has to be on the list for me.
Yeah. You know what? I just, we always, got to set the moment we buy something. And so I just set these up. I'm going to give them to the girls and get one for myself too.
Yep.
Thanks, man. Thanks for calling that one out.
Yeah. You gotta do the responsible thing sometimes.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to go back. So I told them to get the whistle. So we're going to get the whistle and the car breaker outer thingy, and we're good. This year, we got some new tech out from Akara called a human presence sensor for your HomeKit. They're not cheap. They're in about the $80 range, but it's way better than an infrared sensor for a HomeKit sensor. It can detect people. It can detect where they are in the room. And if you're looking for a sensor to help you, say, well, I'm in the room now, turn the lights on, I leave the room, turn them off kind of thing, this is your best shot at it. And it's not perfect, but it's way better than anything I've ever used before. And we're gonna talk about this more on the Automators podcast, and maybe we'll do a HomeKit show here too, probably next year. But but this is a nice update to the sensor technology that showed up this year, and a good gift.
Yeah, that's really cool. I don't have any present sensor stuff, although I was just thinking about this last night, actually. My mom came over. I was doing some work on her car for her, and we have some overhead lights in the garage, and they're on a light switch. And I perpetually leave them on after I do something in the garage. And then you come out the
Yeah,
next morning, it's like, oh, all these lights are on all night. And I
yeah,
really want to tie those lights to some sort of presence sensor. And I'm going to have to like switch out some other stuff to make that possible. But this is on my smart home to-do list for next year, because I could put one of these, or maybe two, I have to see how it works, in the garage. And then it knows like if there's motion. So like if the garage door goes up or if someone's in there,
yeah, yeah.
turn those lights on. And then I guess when things settle down, set a countdown or whatever and turn the lights off.
Well, no, with this, you wouldn't need a countdown because this can tell when people are in the room and it can tell when
Okay.
people leave the room.
Okay.
So that's the advantage of it. The downside is it needs power. You can't just
Yeah.
stick a battery in it. So you got to have a place you can plug it in. I think that's the biggest downside, but it is much, much superior because historically, I think they were infrared, like the heat of a person coming in. But if you were in the wrong area of the room, or if you stopped moving, then it would think there was nobody there and it would turn off. And, this is far superior to that. And I think this is going to be the only way people do these things going forward. But they're early enough that they're still expensive.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's about $80 to buy one of these things. We can get the other sensors for like $15.
Yeah.
But this is a good one.
I added that to my future smart home Apple Note, because
There you
I
go.
think this would make the garage work the way I want it to.
Yeah.
My last one goes with my first one, and it's an aftermarket CarPlay head unit for a non-CarPlay car. I did this for my previous truck. I did it in my mom's car. I've done it for a friend. So I've done 3 of these now of retrofitting CarPlay into a non-CarPlay car. And the traditional way of doing it is actually replacing the head unit. And you can do that. I put a link in the show notes to Crutchfield. They're just an AV company. I don't have a relationship with them, but they make it really easy to pick what you need, and they have really good customer support. But they're also now, and I don't have any firsthand experience with them, so like I'm not suggesting any particular one, but there are now some ways to do this that are much more affordable. Like there are some like tablet-based things you could mount instead of replacing the head unit that give you CarPlay or Android Auto. Do your own homework on those. I don't know anything about them except that they exist, but I'm telling you, like, I will not ever drive a vehicle again without CarPlay. It is so good. I was actually talking to my brother's father-in-law about this. So I guess my sister-in-law's dad, is that how that works?
Yeah.
Because he recently did this. He has an older vehicle and had this done. He's like, yeah, who knew CarPlay was so good? It's like, it really is. And I really believe it is so much safer than picking up your phone to answer a text message, right? Siri can read it to you. You can talk back to it. Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze, all your media streaming apps, everything you need in the car, but nothing you don't. I'm a huge CarPlay fan. And for a lot of cars, you may spend some money getting it put together. If you do it yourself through Crutchfield or some other website like that, you can save a bunch of money on labor. If you're not comfortable with taking your car apart, and a lot of people aren't, there's reputable installers, all over the place, and you can find a company locally that could probably do it. But it's really cool, and it makes an older vehicle feel new, and it gives you all the features of CarPlay without having to go out and obviously buy something new.
Yeah, I mean, living in Southern California, I'm so spoiled by CarPlay's traffic updates because we always have traffic, and the best way to get to a place isn't the same every day.
Right.
And CarPlay makes that so easy. I have one more I want to add. I was looking at trucks the other day, thinking about you, and I forget you have the Toyota Tundra.
Tundra. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I was at the Disneyland parking structure, as you do, and I was walking past this Toyota truck, and it was a Tundra, and it had the coolest Toyota logo on the front of it. It was like blocky font, like I don't know what the font was. I think it was Futura, and it was like heavy block Toyota, and it looks so awesome. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Steven needs that on it. Does your truck have that?
Yeah. So you can swap out some Toyota vehicles depending on the model. It's called the Heritage Grill, where it spells out Toyota.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Mine had the Toyota logo on it, but I've swapped it. In fact, the guy at the gas station, that was one of his first questions. Like, how hard was that? And I said, it was extremely difficult and took me all day because you have to take the whole front end of the truck off.
Yeah.
But yes, I like the Heritage. Again, sort of Heritage style is what they call it. Yeah, it looks sweet. And you can do it on any of the Toyota trucks or some of the SUVs. It's a nice look.
I saw that and I'm like, Steven needs that. But of course, you've already got it.
I'm ahead of you. Yeah. We've turned into the pickup truck podcast today. Sorry.
Apparently, right? I don't even own a pickup truck, but I'm into it. Yeah.
Hey, they're fun to tinker with.
This episode of the Mac Power Users is brought to you by Indeed. Go to Indeed.com/MPU and join more than 3 million businesses worldwide using Indeed to hire great talent fast. What's a game where no one wins? Well, it's the waiting game. And when it comes to hiring, you don't want to wait for great talent to find you. Find them first with Indeed. When you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, you can use their powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. Indeed streamlines hiring with powerful tools that find you matched candidates. With Indeed Instant Match, over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. According to Indeed data, US Indeed's hiring platform really is great. Candidates you invite to apply are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than candidates who only see it in search, according to US Indeed data. Even better, Indeed is the only job site where you only pay for applications that meet your must-have requirements, making it an unbelievably powerful hiring platform, delivering 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined, according to Talent Nest 2019. Join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/MPU. That offer's good for a limited time, so claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/MPU. That's INDEED.com/MPU to support the show by saying you heard about it here on the Mac Power Users. Terms and conditions do apply, but do you need to hire? You need Indeed. Our thanks to Indeed for their support of the Mac Power Users and all of Relay FM.
All right, up next we have workspace and desk accessories. We all like to customize the room around us where we get our work done, whether that's with things that we love, like Star Wars, or things that are just useful, photos of your family. We like to customize our workspaces as nerds. And you beat me to this section, and so you've got a lot of stuff in here. I'm gonna let you take it away.
Yeah, man. Okay, so this year for me was the year of analog for what I call last mile productivity. I don't know. Well, I just for the end of your productivity project, I still need fancy calendar apps and task manager apps to keep track of everything. I have a lot of stuff, but without intention, really, I kind of gravitated this year towards using analog tools for the last mile, for getting the work done each day, rather than looking OmniFocus for my task list. The UgMonk cards, I think that was the gateway drug for me. I got those UgMonk task cards last year, and they really landed with me this year. So every morning I make a card, and, you buy these cards from this guy, and they're very well put together, and I think there's only like 10 lines on it, so it kind of requires you to constrain yourself with your expectations. And I write down the stuff I'm going to do that day on it. And I actually mark them as checked in OmniFocus as soon as I put them on the card. So it's kind of like a little contract with myself saying, okay, now it's on paper. It's no longer digital. You need to get it done. And if I can't finish it in the day, I need to move it to the next card day or next week's Tuesday or whatever. But these Ugma cards, I think, have been really useful to me, and I like them. And I also have this year they released their weekly cards, and I shared this on the show in one of the feedback episodes, so I won't go into a great detail. But they make these little cards that are they're horizontal in nature, and it's got the week and it's got a little holder, and I've got that up each week so I can see my whole week schedule on these little cards. And I just keep it on my desk, and I am constantly referring to it as I go through the week. Oh, what's going to happen on Thursday? Okay, now I see there it is on my card. And I just find it really useful to use those two things together. And the other thing I did analog this year is I just started writing more journaling in paper books. And Chris Bailey wrote a really good book this year called Calm. And gang, if you that would be a good gift in itself. I think in the modern world, we all need a little more calm. And Chris did the research. That's when he writes a book, he really goes deep on the research. And I have to admit, Chris is one of my best friends, so I'm also plugging it for him. But he's just a great guy, and he does such good work. And in his book, he had written something that landed with me. He said, when you're doing something for efficiency, do it digitally. When you're doing something for meaningfulness, do it analog. And I thought, he makes a really good point. So I got some tote books from Studio Neat. And, like I said last week, I'm in the bag for Studio Neat. But I just think they're really good design. And it's just a little notebook, but you can fold it over on itself so you can write on it in a small platform. And I ordered a bunch of them, and I started doing each month in a tote book. Like I would journal in that, but I still scan it to day one. I'm not willing to give up on day one, but I just found the process of writing my journal at the end of the day was kind of beneficial for me. Mm-hmm. And it did bring some meaningfulness to it. So I've kind of expanded on that. I sent Stephen a picture. I don't know, you can put it in the notes if you want. I don't think there's anything too incriminating in there, but it's just like I've got a book for each month, and I don't fill it all the way up, but I get pretty close each month. And then I've got some other books. I do like notes on books I've read, and I've got a book where I make shop notes and different things. And it's just been really nice adding that analog feature. And I'm not going to overthink it and like get hung up on what platform or whatever. But I have these tote books. I've got the Ugmonk cards, and I started using a pencil again, which was another weird thing for me. But I don't know, about 6 months ago, I found a box of nice pencils that I'd never used. Somebody sent me or something. They're Black Wings, and I've almost used them all up now, but they're really nice. And so I do most of the stuff in lead, and it's just it's been a really nice kind of transition for me this year. I think if you're interested in bringing something into the new year, I think this idea of finishing your kind of productivity system on a piece of paper can really work for you. It seems to for me more than I thought it would. And I'm going to continue that into 2024 and see how this goes for me. But it feels pretty good.
Yeah, I really like the tote books. And the neat thing you can see in the picture is it comes with a sticker so you can label them. And so you can label the front and the spine. So if you, like me, I keep all my field notes. And at the end of each year, I take a picture of like my shelf. And people always ask, how do you scan it? I scan it in a flatbed scanner I bought from Office Max 100 years ago. Like it's not fancy.
Yeah.
But I think one of their cool design features is that sticker, so you can see what was in there pretty easily.
Yeah, just well done. And like they're I don't know what the paper is, but it's a good paper. It works good with pencil lead. They've got the pages divided,
Mm-hmm.
so they're very subtle, but they've got markers in it, so you can split it down the half or across. And they're nice little books. And I bought several when I decided to do this, and from different manufacturers. And this is the one that I like. Yeah, of course it was the Studio Neat book, right? But but I like it, and I really kind of like this new workflow for me. Marking it as done in OmniFocus when I put it on the card was kind of a little like change I made that really kind of helped it like lock in for me. And so that's a new thing I've been doing. This is more kind of the stuff we talk about on the Focus podcast, but I do think there, as much as I love digital, I feel like there is a little bit of a place for analog, and to me, particularly at the end of the journey.
Yeah.
So that's something. And if you've got somebody in your life that is doing that stuff, the thing with the Ugmonk cards I found is they're super popular with non-nerds. Like my wife is starting to use them. Some of her friends, so she brought some to work, and then a bunch of her friends at work are like, "What is that? Where did you get it?" So now they're using them. I think a lot of people want this kind of simplistic, task system, because if you don't have, if nothing's working for you, sometimes just making it simple, like a note card per day, is really the trick.
Yeah. A notebook that I like in this size, even though I'm a devout pocket notebook, field notes, 3.5 by 5 person size notebook person. The Subtle notebook by our friends at Cortex brand is very similar to the Studio Neat one. It's dot grid, which is my favorite page layout. And the neat thing they've done in that is the corners, there's a little perforated tab. So you could pull that tab off, and then like right where the first empty page is, without having to use a bookmark or something else. And it's really nice. I've got one here. I use it for some very specific things. Most of the time I'm using a field notes, but it's another nice option sort of in this size class.
I think I may have to get some of these.
Yeah,
maybe
they're
2024 will be. Yeah, maybe next year will be the 2024 will be the Subtle notebook year.
There you go.
2023 was the tote book year. Yeah, these are nice. I hadn't seen. I saw them when they originally came out, but this is because I didn't want all the. They have all this stuff with in the first notebook they released. What was it called?
First one was the Theme System Journal.
Yeah, the Theme System Journal didn't really land with me because I don't need the theme system tools, but just a nice dot grid notebook. Yeah, I'm going to have to get some of these. Well, there we go.
I don't think I told you, but I saw this go in the document. But you have a desk treadmill here. And this is something that I also purchased this year.
See, we did it again.
I know.
We're like twins.
Mine's very similar to yours. It's like, they're called like walking pads. They're very short treadmills. And I use it some, not as much as I thought I would. It's a goal for next year to use it more often. I need to find a task where like I do this task when I'm walking. But how has it gone with you?
Yeah, I've only had it a couple months. We've been talking about this on Mac Power Users. I mean, this goes back a decade.
Yeah. And Carrie brought it up, Relays, VPSLs. That came up when she was on the show earlier this year.
Yeah. And so I've always been curious about them. And I finally said, I've really tried to start working on my health the last 2 or 3 months. Daisy and I have been doing Pilates. And you know what? Pilates kicks your butt. I'm just going to say that, But, I go there and there's like a bunch of teachers. I'm often the only guy in the room. But I'm like, this is hard. But anyway, so we've been doing that. And I've been trying to get my steps up, and I walk the dog a lot. But I thought, well, I spend a lot of time at this desk, and I was watching these on Amazon. The one I put in the links is the one I bought, and it was because it was like $180 one day on some deal or something. But they're all in the $200 to $300 range. And they're not super fancy. The one I have, I don't know if it'll be running in 10 years, but it's running now, and I use it all the time. And it's not that expensive. It's light. I don't keep it under my desk 24/7. I actually keep it in the corner of the office, but it's light enough and it has 2 wheels on it. I bring it over every day, and I use it during communication and planning time. I've got like a ritual now. I don't answer email if I'm not walking. And, I'm getting a lot of extra steps every day from just having this thing under my desk while I work. And I'm never going to be using it like while I'm recording or doing that kind of stuff. I don't think I'm going to be using it while I'm doing deep thinking type work. But when I'm doing the basics, the admin stuff, when I'm wearing my manager hat, I think it's really great. And it's funny because you forget you're doing it kind of. You just get into what you're working in, but in the meantime, you're just putting steps down.
Mm-hmm. Are you tracking those walks with the Apple Watch, or you just let it happen?
When I remember to, I don't do it. I'm not that good at tracking all my workouts, but yeah sometimes.
I try to be good at it, and maybe listeners will have a suggestion. I have a trouble of it actually not thinking I'm working out because you're walking pretty slow. And if your hand
Yeah.
is up at the keyboard, one way the Apple Watch figures out what's happening is like, what is this guy's arm doing? What motions are happening with his hands? And you obviously don't get that as much when you're typing or working on a computer and you're walking. So
I've had the same experience. It just sometimes it doesn't even catch that I'm walking.
yeah. I know when Carrie was on, she said that she found a strap to like put her watch on her ankle. I just can't do it. Like,
oh, I would totally do that.
oh,
I would totally.
You'd probably gaff tape it to your ankle, but it's
Yeah.
maybe there's another solution. I kind of ended up with like, you know what, this doesn't count towards my rings because my heart rate's not elevated, right? I'm not running.
Yeah.
I'm not going. It's not really exercise for me at my fitness level. Some people it will be. But so I've kind of just like given up on tracking it towards my rings, and whatever the watch happens to catch, it happens to catch. But some people may really care about that more.
Yeah. But it's just good for you, using your legs, I mean, even if you're not running your heart rate up, that's nice. The other thing I do with mine is I put some books underneath the front of it, total hack, but I make it an uphill climb by just sticking some books under the front of it. And if I want to, I can make it a little harder. I guess these are all me, so I'm just going to keep going. The other one that I did this year, and I think it's a good kind of recommendation. I don't know, is this a gift or is this me telling you about something I did? But I try to get better at my cable management, and I kind of gave in. It's like buying elastic pants. I bought steel cable channels for under my desk, and they're just big channels that you screw to the bottom of your desk, and you can just stuff your cables into it, and it's really kind of great, because your desk always looks nice. Now the cables aren't super clean and laid down like Stephen would probably prefer they to be, but when you want to get something out, you can pull them out and then you can put them back in, and it just never has that when you do your cables properly, especially with a desk that goes up and down. It seems like it's a question of about 3 to 4 months before it resumes to its chaotic nature. I don't even know how that happens, but it does. And with these channels, I don't really have that. They're just always in the channels, and that's good.
Yeah, that's nice. My desk came with one, and there's lots of options out there. I have one under my previous desk, which is now where my PC sits, and it's just like an open wire one. So it's not a full tray. What's nice about the tray is you can hide stuff. And if a lot of times you may have a power brick in there for something, or this Thunderbolt cable is too long and I'm not going to go buy a shorter one because they're really expensive, and you can bundle it up in there and kind of hide it. So I don't think it's got to be nice and neat in there. Mine certainly is not, but these are pretty cool. The only thing I would add to it is these look like they're just bent pieces of metal. There are options out there, like the one that came with my desk, and it opens, so it pivots down. And that's fine until you hit your knee on it, and then it springs open in the middle of a podcast recording. Ask me how I know how that goes. And so I now actually have a Velcro tie over each release latch, so it can't spring open accidentally. So I actually prefer what you've picked. That's just basically just a bent piece of metal, and makes it a bit more sturdy.
The one thing I have to do is, because I have got power and the microphone cable running through it, is every time I move something around, poor Jim gets a recording from me. Jim, I moved a cable. Do I still sound okay?
Yeah.
I'm panicked that my cables are going to butt up against each other and affect my recording quality. And my ears are bad enough that I can't hear it. So Jim gets one of those from me about every 2 months.
I solved that. All my audio stuff is on top of my desk, and all the power stuff is under the desk.
Yeah.
And so I bought short XLR cables for everything, and I no longer have that problem.
Yeah. And the other thing I found this year related are red whip ties. Stephen, have you ever seen these things before?
I had not. I've been a bongo tie believer, and you say in the document, like bongo ties, but better. And you got to sell me on this.
These are amazing. They're little bungee cords, but they're really tiny, and they've got a little plastic a device on it where you can shorten them and tighten them up. And so they're like bongo ties, but better, because bongo ties are a fixed length. A lot of times you have to wrap them around multiple times.
Yeah.
do whatever. And the rubber and the bongo ties does deteriorate over time.
That's true.
And these things are great, and they have them in different sizes and different colors. And I don't know, they're just great. But be careful when you search red whip ties; that can get you into trouble in Google. But the search I found was red bungee cable ties, because I saw them. Somebody, a friend of mine who does video, he says, "Oh yeah, the red whip ties. These are for everything." And I guess that's what they call them in the business,
in the industry. That's what we call them in the industry.
Yeah, but if you just go red bungee cable ties on Amazon, you're much likely to get a search result that won't embarrass you.
Okay.
And they're great, and I have a bunch of them, and I feel like I'm going to be using them for a lot of stuff going forward. And I even have a couple like on my backpack. I'm just going to carry them with me when we go out. I can find uses for them.
Okay, I'm buying a pack.
Nice little upgrade. Yeah, let me know what you think of them.
Yeah, because the bongo ties are great, but if something is not kind of the right size, like you said, you're doubling up. And I have had them where the rubber will break or degrade over time. I actually have a project for over the holiday to actually re-cable under my desk, because I basically did it and I set it up. I had the Mac Pro and then I had the Mac Studio. And when I moved to the MacBook Pro, I basically didn't redo under the desk. I did what I needed to do to make the Thunderbolt dock work. And it's a disaster under there. To the point that the other day, we had to turn power off to the house because we were having some work done by an electrician. And I realized my display is now on the battery backup, just the laptop is. I was like, well, I should probably fix that. So, the very least I have to, not all my windows move around and I can shut things down quickly if I need to.
Yeah.
And, because my mouse is a Logitech, its little wireless receiver is plugged into the studio display. So the mouse didn't work to shut down the computer, right? It was like, oh, this isn't hooked up right at all. And so I've ordered some of these now. And I will deploy them when I redo under my desk over the holiday, and maybe I can report back next year.
I want that as a future More Power Users episode. I want pictures before and after, and I want to hear the whole sort of deal. Or maybe we'll even do that as a feedback. I just feel like I want to get inside your head as you recable. I need that.
Well, you know what there's not any of under my desk? There's no gaff tape.
Gaff tape.
No gaff tape.
No
gaff tape.
There isn't on mine either now because of these channels. These channels like cure all sins. The only thing. Okay, wait a second. So the channels I recommend I think they're about 10 or 14 inches long. They're not very long. And I bought two of them, and there was a gap between them. Mm-hmm. So I took black gaff tape and just kind of stretched it across the gap.
You
so
made
if you
a
look
bridge
underneath,
out of gaff tape.
Yeah, I made a gaff, a bridge. Yes, so there is some gaff tape, but
incredible.
Not the historical gaff tape. And the bongo ties are going to solve the gaff tape problem of going up the leg of the desk. So yeah. I'm slowly becoming Hackett compliant.
That's good. That's good.
All right. One more thing for your office. This year, Elgato released a new device called the Elgato Prompter. It's really fun. Teleprompters, to the extent a teleprompter can be fun. But, Elgato, they just do a good job. They make stuff that works, and they're right in the sweet spot. You and I have bought several of their products over the years.
I got a ton of it.
They did a teleprompter right here. It comes with a bunch of little screw mounts for your camera, so you can screw it on, and then it just slides on. But it also has a drape that you can put over like a webcam. It's like no matter how you want to use a camera on your computer, this thing will work with it. It's got software. One of the big problems with teleprompters is you have to have software that reverses the direction of the software in order for it to appear right when you look at the teleprompter. Mm-hmm. This does it automatically. Any software you put on it. I use it because I make stuff as Mac Sparky, but a lot of people don't make videos like I do. But what a lot of people do is Zoom calls. And this thing is a Zoom powerhouse. You put it over your camera, and then you just put the Zoom window in front of it. And so then whenever you do Zoom calls, whether it's work or friends or whatever, you constantly are looking at the lens when you're talking to people, and you don't have that weird thing where you're looking off to the side as you're doing a Zoom call. And if you've got a big fancy corporate person in your life, they're going to love this because it'll make them look better on their Zoom calls. And it's not that expensive. It's like $300, but I mean, in the world of teleprompter, that's very reasonable. And It's just great. And it runs on one cable, one USB-C cable. It gets a power and data. You plug it into your Mac. It's very easy to set up. I feel like, once again, Elgato hit it out of the park.
Mm-hmm. I've got one on order. I was a little late to it, and now mine ships in December. But very much looking forward to this. I have a Sony. I'm trying to look. I think it's a ZV-1 mounted, and it goes into an Elgato little capture USB thing. And I want that for this because I'm looking to do some more video stuff in the new year, kind of pick that back up. And I want something at a bit more turnkey, and really your setup sort of inspired this, where you're doing a lot of video for the labs, and you can very quickly like hit a couple buttons and be ready to go. And I don't have that. And so this is going to be part of that for me, to either have text there, or because it's another screen, I could have what I'm talking about there where I can see it and I'm not looking off to the side at the monitor, that sort of thing.
Yeah, my only negative criticism is that if you put a white screen on it, and so the way that, just to explain the prompter, a lot of people haven't used these things. It's an LED screen that reflects off a 45-degree angle piece of glass.
Mm-hmm.
So the screen is below it, but it reflects. So if you look at the glass, you see it. And then the camera is behind the glass, and it's one-way glass, like when they, when they're investigating, when they're questioning the criminal defendant, they got the one-way glass. It's kind of like that.
Is that true? I mean, I know you didn't do like criminal law, but that's a thing, right?
That is totally a thing. That is totally a thing. I think it's there. I did a summer in the public defender's office when I was in law school, and one of my old mentor public defender guy said, he says, that's just there to intimidate them. There's usually nobody behind it, but it's always there.
Just an empty room.
Yeah, exactly. Or somebody back there like watching a movie. But either way, but so the way this works is it displays the LED up and off the glass. What I've noticed is if you have a very bright screen, like if you have, like what I notice on Zoom calls, when you have the attendees on it, that's always a white background. Then that makes the camera feed look a little milky. It affects what the lens sees.
Because it sees the light put off by the white.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So if you get one of these things, make sure you put dark screen over the top of it. Don't use white screens. But that's just a teleprompter thing. But this thing's so easy, and it's plastic, which is a plus because I don't keep it on 24/7. I just slide it on when I need it, and then it's super light. And Elgato, those guys. When we talked about it once, a listener wrote me and said, Elgato's full of like former Apple people. And I totally believe that, but I don't know if it's true or not. But just when you look at the way they make their products, it feels like that's probably true.
This episode of Mac Power Users is brought to you by NetSuite. If you have a business, you can probably relate to the fact that as businesses grow, cracks start to emerge. Things that you used to do in a week are now taking even longer, or that job that used to be able to do, once a week in an afternoon, they're taking several days. You have too many manual processes and you don't have one source for truth. I certainly have been in that situation here at Relay FM over the years. And it's never a good feeling when everything is disjointed, too many processes in too many places. You want clarity and you want one place where all the important stuff happens. And that solution to untangling this disjointed feeling is NetSuite. It's a software company that has developed a cloud-based business management platform to help your team deal with key business processes like enterprise resource planning, financials, CRM, e-commerce, inventory, and more. I know that when we have had too many manual processes at work, getting work done feels harder than it needs to be, and I can't be as productive as I'd like. So if you want to make sure the cracks don't emerge in your business, there are 3 numbers to remember: 36,000, 25, and 1. There are 36,000 businesses that have upgraded to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, streamlining accounting, financial management, inventory, HR, and more. And NetSuite turns 25 this year. That's 25 years of helping businesses do more with less, close their books in days, not weeks, and drive down costs. And 1, because your business is one of a kind. So get a customized solution for all your KPIs in one efficient system with one source of truth. Manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Everything you need in one place. I know as a business owner what a difference that can make when you have all your information in one place and how much easier everything operates when information is available. Right now, you can go download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist. It's designed to give you consistently excellent performance, and it's absolutely free at netsuite.com/MPU. That's NETSUITE. netsuite.com/MPU. Go there to get your own KPI checklist and make sure your business is one that continues to thrive. Our thanks to NetSuite for their support of the show.
All right. This last category Stephen put in called The Sky's the Limit.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
I don't know why I did it. I thought it'd be fun to have something here at the very end that's just bonkers. I'm going to save my big one for last. So do you want to
really
take this
win.
first?
Yeah, you got the magic of this category. I didn't. I struggled with this one. But so I've got a couple expensive things. The first one is, those of you that have heard me talking about this stupid Bamboo X1 carbon printer, I love my 3D printer. It's so fun. This is not if you're looking for it to make economical sense, it doesn't. Making plastic storage out of a, $1,000 plus printer doesn't really work, but it's fun and I'm enjoying it. And if you've got a maker nerd in your life, or if you are a maker nerd, this might be a nice, high-end gift.
Yeah.
And I would recommend the Bamboo so heavily. I know Steven has a different manufacturer. The Bamboo to me feels like kind of the Apple of this bit. Like they make it, everything works together. You buy the stuff from them. And I don't really want to be a 3D printer maintenance guy. I just want to be a 3D printer maker guy. Like I've had one problem with this printer when I used non-Bamboo filament and it got all plugged up. I sent Bamboo $30. They gave me a new part. I replaced it myself and I was back running. And it's just the whole system works that way. And I know that's one of the big complaints about it, that it's like a walled garden of 3D printers, but that's what I wanted. So I'm very happy with that.
I spec'd out a MacBook Pro for this.
Yeah, you did.
And this is not even the most expensive thing in this section. I am not upgrading to the M3. But if I were, this is what I would buy. Okay.
Yeah.
M3 Max, 14 core CPU, 30 core GPU. So this is not the high end. It's like the middle M3 Max.
Okay. All right.
96 gigabytes of unified memory. You're already here. You might as well.
Put a pin in that. I want to talk about that in a minute, but okay.
8 terabytes of SSD.
As you do. I get it.
Yeah. Casey listed it too on his new one, so I'm not alone. Obviously, I don't know if I said it, but a 14-inch. I love the 14-inch size. I know people who have the 16 for specific reasons really like the 16, but for me, the 14 is just the perfect balance of, it's a big enough screen that I can edit shows on as a laptop comfortably, but it's not this giant thing in my bag. I adore the size. I think Apple nailed it with the 14-inch.
I think that's the default, right? You have to have a reason to go to 16.
Yeah.
But you put it, you went all of this trouble to build it out. How tempted were you to just buy it?
Well, it was $6,200.
So that
not
helped.
That tempted. That's not, so my current machine is an M2 Pro with 32 gigabytes of memory and 8 terabytes SSD. And that was an expensive machine, but it wasn't this expensive. And there's no reason for me to go from an M2 Pro to an M3 Max. But if I were, and late breaking news, I think it actually do Space Black. I saw one in an Apple store yesterday, and it's pretty good. It's not black. Like, it's not as dark as the keyboard well, that really dark aluminum around the keyboard. I wish it was. My guess is fingerprint situation would be pretty bad on that, even with their new coating. But it is way darker than space gray. So if you think about a continuum where silver is on one end and space black is on the other, space gray is dead center. Like, it is a lot darker than space gray. And it seemed like, this is an Apple Store model. Like, people are like touching it all the time. really no fingerprints. And I tried it, like it seems pretty fingerprint resistant, especially compared to the Midnight on the MacBook Air. That finish, while beautiful, fingerprint magnet. So I think I would do space black, which is not what I expected. I've done silver for a long time. My current one is silver. I think it's classy. It's like the traditional color. But that space black was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, see, I saw one too, and I agree. I think they look nice, but man, it just makes me wish they used actual colors. We keep saying it, but the fact that you made a black one and everybody's losing their mind. What if you made an orange one? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
all I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. Couple questions. First of all, you said 96 gigabytes of unified memory. Why do you need so much RAM?
You're already there with the Max chip. I actually don't have the configurator open. Let me see. This chip made default to 48.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build one real quick as I talk, but
yeah.
I've got 32 now, and like I don't have any trouble with it. But as I feel like you're going to upgrade this thing, you might as well just go for it. But going all the way to the top to the 128 is truly bonkers. So it seemed like this was so it defaults with 36 gigabytes and then it goes up to 96. Now, if you do the bigger M3 Max, it starts at 48. So if I was really buying, I would probably price compare those two because it probably comes out in the wash. But, 90, I wouldn't want to do 36 just because I've got 32 now. And if I'm upgrading, I want to actually upgrade.
Yeah, I have 32, and I can tell you, because I looked at 32 or 64 when I got mine, and I don't regret getting the lower RAM build. And I was putting a bunch of money into the storage. I think, if money is an object, which it is for most of us.
But not in this topic, because the sky's the limit.
Okay, that's true. That's true. You got me there, buddy. But I'm just saying, if you're buying one at home, I would put more money into storage and less money into RAM. I think even for everything I do, 32 gigabytes seems to be just fine. And then the other thing that I got thinking about, I saw MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee, who is a very nice gentleman. I met him at the Apple event too. But
he's the coolest person in tech journalism.
Yeah, he wins. He wins for sure.
He's so cool.
But he was saying that he's going to keep his M1, and it really got me thinking about this. And we had Apple's earnings call. And I did a blog post on this, but the Apple had its earnings call said that Mac sales were down. Everybody's losing their mind over it. But I've been saying this for a while now. I feel like the Apple Silicon is like the iPad. It is everything on one chip. It's going to work great, and it's going to work a long time. And I think people are going to keep these computers a long time. I just don't think people will be upgrading as much. Like, you don't need to go from an M2 to an M3. You probably don't really need to go from an M2 to an M5. I mean, I think that they're going to get better incrementally, but I think these computers, starting with the M1, are great computers.
Yeah.
And it's going to affect the bottom line for Apple a little bit. I don't think they're going to sell as many Macs, but that's a good thing because they're so good that we like to keep them. And that means we're going to want to buy another one when we do get around to it. So I think Apple's on the right track, but I also think it means we're going to get more services sold to us. I don't think our long 5 gigabyte free data thing is going to change anytime soon.
Probably not.
Yeah. Your insane pick was truly insane, but it's kind of awesome. I had to match you sort of. So I decided, okay, money's no object. I'm going to buy my wife, because she would really like this, a life-size R2-D2.
Okay. I haven't opened this link yet. I saved it to be on the air.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, it is life size. There's a person staying next to this.
It's life size means life size.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's on a little platform.
It's more expensive than the MacBook Pro, but not that much more expensive.
Yeah. It's only $7,600. Comes with a little remote so you can make him beep and warble and stuff, but he doesn't roll around. He's stationary.
Yeah.
There is a whole community around building your own droids, and you can actually build your own for far less than that. And we have a couple listeners into it because when I announced I had a 3D printer, they started sending me the links, and I am aware of this community. And like, I have like thought about it, and I always like get to the edge and step back. I could see myself at some point in the future when I have more time building my own. But, just buying one and sticking it in the corner is kind of nice too.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I spoke at a maker fair at the Henry Ford Museum years ago. That's where all my
Yeah.
iMacs ended up, if you remember that.
Yeah.
And as part of the maker fair, there was a group that like built their own R2D2s, and
Yeah.
it was so cool. And they were all like slightly different, and they all moved and like rolled around and stuff. But
Oh, yeah.
that's a cool subculture to me.
Yeah. It's a really nice community, and they have like a couple websites where they all like help. Like if I went and decided to do it, they would give you all the information you need. And like some of them are like aluminum parts, and some of them have like manufacturing ability to say, well, I'm going to print a set of domes. If you want to get in on it, let me know and I'll sell you one, So like a lot of the harder stuff to do, they kind of work together. And of course they build not just R2, they build all of the Star Wars droids.
Yeah.
And, there's people who have figured out the electronics and all that. But every time I get close to it, I'm like, I am so busy. This is not something I have time for right now. But someday maybe, or maybe someday I'll just buy the one that goes in the corner from Sideshow.
Yeah, that's cool.
But the other piece of it for me is like, if I made one of those things, I have a small house. Where would we even put it? But yeah, so I had to match you, but you definitely win. So tell us, Stephen, your all bets are off pick.
Yeah. So we spoke earlier about my love of Toyota. So my Sky is No Limit gift is an Icon Toyota FJ40. Icon is this super cool company out near you in LA.
Yeah.
And they remanufacture like classic trucks. And so they have a Bronco. I think the Ford Bronco was their first one. I love the first gen Bronco, but the FJ40 is something special. It's like Toyota's answer to the Jeep. And so I spec'd one. So the starting price before any options is $195,000.
I know. I saw that and I just laughed.
Yeah. So I would do Pacific Blue, which is like this really kind of nice blue-gray, dark blue-gray color. I would do the color matched wheels because you just have to on a classic vehicle. I think I would do the gray hand tailored bikini top because, this is an open air vehicle, right? You don't want to be in this if it rolls over, but it's basically a Jeep.
Yeah, you don't need the thing to cut yourself out of this
no,
car.
You've been shot out of this thing at this point.
Yeah.
You can do LED headlights, which is cool. You can set different interiors. I think their new school interior looks really nice. Forward-facing rear bench seat. They do have 2 rear jump seats, but I want people, facing forward, I think.
Yeah.
They're all powered by a 6.2 liter V8, not what was in the FJ in the beginning, but they have a modern drivetrain under it, locking diffs, sport suspension, ceramic coated exhaust, lockable storage in the back because this thing's just open, right? So you got to have some storage, so your stuff doesn't get ripped off. Obviously, a fire extinguisher and an air compressor. And they have a really nice audio package, so you can get CarPlay in this thing if you want to. This doesn't tell you what the final price is. The button says submit for quote. I may have just built a $300,000 truck, but you'll know if I hit the lottery. Nothing in my life would change if I won the lottery, except I would have one of these in my garage. Everything else would be the same. I'd pay my house off. I'd buy an Icon. And I'd still be doing my shows and hanging out with people, but dang, this thing speaks to me.
I like that you kind of have an in-game thing here,
Yeah.
I think that's cool. And I will tell you that the reason I was fascinated when you sent this is I didn't have any idea how much they cost, but we have a Toyota in the house. I took it in for service recently, and they had one of these in the lobby.
Oh, that's cool.
At the Toyota dealership. I don't know why, because it's not made by Toyota, but it was there.
Yeah. I think they start life as an FJ. They have different, like this company is so bespoke, right? You can basically build what you want. And they have like a derelict one, which is basically you bring your own. Again, they got the Bronco, which is really cool too. But yeah, this would
It
be
is
sick.
really. I mean, I look at this. I'm like, this is the car for Steven
Yeah.
for sure. I mean,
And this is in game, right? This is you buy this and this is your vehicle. Like, this is not something you drive for 8 years and then sell. This is something you have for life.
yeah, it's funny because I am like tending the exact opposite direction. I don't have a car. My wife and I share a car, but she primarily drives it. And I've been thinking recently, but although I don't think I'm going to do this, it's like I'd like to get like a beater old like truck or a Jeep or something,
Yeah.
just a beater, like something that doesn't have any of the modern comforts, but is just good enough to get me around town and maybe to the lumberyard once in a while.
Mhm.
And I go back and forth on it because I'm like, but then I'd have to have another thing to insure, and I'd have to get the oil changes and the tires and all. It's like all that headache
stuff
that comes with it.
Yeah.
It's like if I really just wanted to go get a bunch of plywood, I could go to Home Depot and rent a truck for $20 and return it in the afternoon. It doesn't make sense, but like, yeah, a car like this would be really fun.
Yeah. I mean, it costs more than my house, but yeah, it's super cool.
Although I will say, since you showed this to me, I've been paying attention to cars, and like the modern Broncos kind of have this vibe to them.
Yeah, they did a good job on the Bronco. The retro look on it is really cool.
There's several of them now out there that kind of have this feel, like, and Jeeps, of course, which this is based on.
Yeah.
And have you ever thought about just like buying one of those? You could afford that.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm a Jeep person. I rented and drove a Jeep in Colorado last summer when my wife and I went on vacation for our 15th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
If you drive a Jeep, skip forward 30 seconds. It drives terribly. Like,
yeah.
And this FJ probably doesn't drive like a dream either. But the Jeep, like everything's rattling, and it was a rental car, so like it's been bombed out, right? I get it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to daily something like this. But really, like, there's a lot. I mean, my wife would murder me if we were a 3-car family. There's no way that would fly.
Yeah. But the modern Broncos look nice, and then then Toyota used to make the FJ Cruiser, but I don't think they make that anymore.
They don't, but it's rumored they're going to again. A buddy of mine has an FJ Cruiser and loves it. They were not cool when they were around. Like, no, they were kind of made fun of, but now they're cool, and the value's gone way up on an FJ Cruiser.
Oh man, I'm looking right now. 2011 FJ Cruiser, $38,000.
Yeah, it's nuts. They've skyrocketed, especially nice ones.
Yeah. So yeah, I could see myself wanting one of those or something, but honestly, I don't need a car. Yeah. We're fine with one car. It works. I work from home, so it's all good. But yeah, man, I'm with you. If you know what, if I hit the lotto, I'm gonna buy 2 of these. We get one for me, one for you.
Awesome.
I don't buy lotto tickets, so I'm not sure how useful it is.
If it just happens to you.
You know what? If I suddenly find myself flush with cash,
okay,
with that kind of cash, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that kind. You're getting one.
Deal.
I'm getting you one.
I like it. No, same. Right. We'll have a mutual agreement here. Same.
Okay. I guess that does it for the gift episode of Mac Power Users 2023. Steve and I are going to gift each other some very expensive cars one day, hopefully, right? Before we go, another thing you could do for people that have everything is you could make a St. Jude donation and give them a note that says, hey, I made a big St. Jude donation on your behalf.
Yes.
I've done that for some friends, and they love it. They love the gift. So that's another good one, right?
Absolutely. Year round, not just in September, but year round. Absolutely.
Yeah. That money's going to a good place. We are the Mac Power Users. You can find us at relay.fm/MPU. Thank you to our sponsors, 1Password, Clean My Mac, X, Indeed, and NetSuite. We'll see you next time.